Hello everyone and welcome back to Tank Wars 2 Electric Boogaloo. I am your host Chromoid, and this time we're going to watch yet another loser's bracket fight. This one is going to be between the Valiant Steel Wall submitted by Dragonslayer918, and it's going to be against Tick Logo by Sean Reed. Uh, and I've already explained why I hate this entry. It's a good entry, like the tanks are very good, but well, we'll just get into it and have to listen to the abominations fight, huh? So, 3, 2, 1, here we go. And it begins. Trying my sanity. The daily struggle of casting from the depths fights. My complaints really aren't going to help anything. I'm just going to say, I know complaining isn't going to help anything. In fact, it's probably going to make things worse because people are going to be like, oh, haha, really funny. Let's do that again. But yeah. Oh, man. Let's see if the Valiants have what it takes to take out the Tick Logo. Tick Logo got sent down to loser's bracket by a scrappy fight with Nutterchap's Attack of the Clones. And the Valiant Mark IIIs were banished here after a scrap with, I can't remember, I think it was against Charcharodon. It was either Charcharodon or, it was Charcharodon or some, I forget. It was a pretty decisive loss for the Valiants. The Ticks had a very good go with Nutterchap, with the Attack of the Clones. It was a very close fight, but at the end of the day, the Ticks ran out of fuel, got stuck, and just couldn't put out enough damage while Nutterchap's clones climbed the sides of the hills and poured fire down into them from above, and that seemed to really be the thing that cinched it. Oh no, the Valiants are doing the thing where they get stuck on each other again. It's just a pile of Valiants, and what happens here is one of two things. First of all, they're now perfectly stationary, making them great targets for any tanks wanting to shoot into them. And the other thing is they end up shooting each other in the back, trying to hit their targets. Valiants tend to have very good point damage when they fire. They do this volley fire thing, and it's pretty devastating when they hit their opponents, but sometimes when they group up like this, they end up doing it to each other. Oh no! One of the Arthurs have been despawned. Must have been cored out. Let me check this one just to make sure. I sometimes miss because there's so many vehicles. I sometimes miss when one's stopped just because it's been AI cored. It'll look like it's got plenty of health, and it'll look like it's perfectly fine, but it'll have stopped, and the turret will be pointing straight ahead or in the neutral position, and that's usually an indicator that it's been cored out. The AI core has been destroyed. When that happens, the vehicle will despawn. That counts as it being dead. Now we just got a clump of Valiants. I don't think there's no Valiants. Yeah, this is the entire team of the Valiant Steel Wall clumped up in one place like a shooting fish in a barrel for the Ticks. And they're going to shoot each other too because friendly fire is really not a concept in From the Depths. They shoot each other as much as they'll shoot their opponents. This one Tick in the center. If they would all turn their guns to this Arthur, this little silver tank in the middle, I'm pretty sure they could demolish it in a few seconds, but they're trying to shoot those two massive land cruisers there, and these land cruisers, these Ticks, are really resilient. They are very sturdy. I don't think any of them got despawned in their last fight against Nutterchap. They got damaged pretty heavily, but they didn't get despawned. They're just very, very tough to kill, and you see there, all those shots are hitting, yeah, they're hitting their own teammates. They're not hitting the Ticks. One Tick's down to 89%. It's been hurt pretty badly, but it's not dead yet. Not by a long shot, and these rockets are going to start doing lots of damage. The Valiants do not appear to have a significant amount of repair bots on them. Oh, this is going to suck. The Valiants do have this tendency to clump up and get each other stuck on themselves, and that's going to end up being their demise here, I think. A lot of them are dropping down to the 70s and soon moving down to the 60%. And if you pop a turret at that kind of damage, that'll be a despawned tank. Oh man, yeah, 5 tanks still working for Tick Logo. They are they're doing quite well for themselves. I believe these are all missile I believe I believe all of these are missile tanks. I don't know if there's any cannons. Oh, I mean, look at all the frags exploding off the front of the Valiants. Valiants are pretty strong. They can take some hits. This tick has been disabled. It no longer fires missiles. All those gantries have been destroyed, but this one's perfectly fine. This Arthur has not been hurt. It's basically all been damage put onto this one land cruiser, and that's all well and good because you see the Tick logo is actually losing in hit points right now because they only have 6 vehicles total. They have 6 vehicles total. Losing a single vehicle will cost them a lot of their hit points, but you've got to kill one of them, and they are tough. They're very tough. That one Arthur died due to a AI core. It wasn't even below 90% if I remember correctly. Oh, one of the Valiants got loose. That's going to help a little bit, and then it's going to get itself stuck on an Arthur and just sit right in front of its missiles. Targeting on the Valiants is set apparently to all target the same thing. Oh man, missiles slamming into them from all directions, blocks going everywhere. They're going to start losing their ability to fire back, and without even killing a single tick, that's going to give the tick logo a chance to come back at this. They're already 80% to 77%. Tick logo may be losing on paper, but they've only lost one vehicle. They've lost basically 2 vehicles at this point because this tick is pretty heavily damaged and pretty much combat ineffective, but it doesn't matter if it's not firing, but it's still got all of its hit points and repairing while destroying the enemies. It's not going to matter, and the enemies are killing each other too. They're shooting each other in the back, taking turrets off. You see there's 2 that have lost their turrets. We've got 2 that have gotten loose from the group. They're now kind of doing what they're supposed to do, circling around, firing into the opponents. But they're all determined to shoot this one tick way back here. This one right here that's been damaged and is literally just standing here taking the shots. And it seems like, oh, another Valiant goes down for good this time. Not just lost its turret, but lost its life, and that's put them at 69%, and now Tick logo is winning. Just under 5 minutes to go. I don't like these odds. A lot of Valiants missing turrets, missing gauges for their guns, looks like this one's missing its gun controller. Those barrels are no longer functioning. This one's lost gauges, so now the shells are not the proper size to do the damage they need to do. This one's still functioning, it's just lost most of its barrel. But yeah, a lot of them, the turrets have either been rendered inoperable or ineffective. And that basically means there's no way for the Valiants to come back from this, aside from the ticks actually killing each other off like the Valiants have done, or getting stuck like this. You know, if you get stuck like this and have a lot of enemies still shooting back at you, it's a pretty bad idea. But at this point, it doesn't matter. There's nothing to shoot back. Another 2 Valiants go down, and at this point, it's just a shooting gallery for the ticks. They're going to be able to fire into all of these Valiants with pretty much no repercussions. There's another Valiant despawning. They've been so damaged, so busy shooting each other in the back, trying to kill that one tick while all clumped up, and that's pretty much done them in. The no response fire to the outside ticks circling them. They were too focused on the big vehicles, and they didn't have mobility. They just kept running into each other and getting stuck. And a lot of that does not have to do with terrain. This has to do with AI settings and how they're set up to drive and how they maneuver. It is possible to set your vehicles to have a reverse whenever they reach a certain speed or when they detect something in front of them. You can do that in this game. It's just, it takes some setup, it takes some practice, and it takes a lot of testing. A lot of times you'll see stuff like this happen with entries that have either been put together quickly or have not had their pathing fully tested by the designer. And it really sucks when you see it because, I mean, it's a really good design, but when you have this kind of behavior, they quickly negate any of the good in their design by disabling each other or shooting each other in the back or running into each other and making themselves immobilized for enemies to kill. You've got one Valiant flipped over, a bunch more running around without their heads, a couple running around with turrets that seem to be marginally functional. They're loose now. This is what they should have been doing all along, staying loose, shooting back at things and running around, firing into opponents. But they got clumped up early on, and that just seems to have done them in. You've got, I think, 1 still working, 2 still working, and that's about it. The rest have no turrets. This one with a turret Okay, the turret's working on this one. It's running away, though. If it gets too far away, it will disqualify itself by being out of 1,200 meters from the nearest enemy. It's turning around, though. It's coming back. And it fires back, hits the terrain. It might have hit its own ally if it hadn't hit that terrain. Missiles everywhere. The ticks are not running out of missiles anytime soon. And the missiles seem to, unless a tick gets pinned right up against an enemy while everything else is shooting from the tick side, you're not going to hit your allies with missiles too often. The missiles are guided. They will arc around and hit the thing they're trying to shoot at. Usually. Now, I say that, and then a bunch of missiles slam into that tick. I think something tells me the laser targeting is not quite good on these guys. Yeah, they're not quite optimal. Oof. Oh, two Valiants. This one upside down. They're at 37.2%. They have a minute and a half left to come back from this. I think they have 2 guns between the entire team, all remaining 5 of them. And I don't think that's enough. Not with this kind of missile barrage coming in constantly. Just see, I think even the damaged land cruiser has repaired up. Yeah, I think the damaged land cruiser is this one. I think it's finally repaired up and is actually firing missiles again. Yeah. It's trying anyway. No, it's still damaged. It's not firing any missiles. It's just there to act as a big brick of defiance against anything that wants to shoot it. That is the most focused vehicle after that one Arthur. That's the one that everyone was shooting at, and it's still alive. Oh, it's got missiles in the back. Okay, my bad. It shoots itself in the back with its own rear-ejected missiles. That's classic. That's classic. That's pretty clever that they've got a turret that fires missiles out the back, and then they've got a bunch of ejectors out the back that fire missiles onto the ground, and the missiles then loop around and scoot towards the opponent. I believe Arthur said, Sean, the creator of the Tick logo, said that the rear-fired missiles are supposed to skate along the ground and blow up underneath the opponents. Unfortunately, he was not accounting for the fact that this has a lot of terrain. This arena has a lot of terrain in it, so the missiles end up hitting hills and just launching straight over them and missing what they're trying to shoot at. Usually. Sometimes they don't. I might be dangerous. Yeah, this is, I think this is over. You see random missiles taking off from the ground. It's because they've been spat out from behind one of those land cruisers, and they activate seconds later. But that's going to be it. It's a 33.6 to 76.3. Shawn Reed, you are going to be carrying on this tournament in the losers bracket, and Dragonslayer918, your Valiant Steel Wall is going home. I have been Chromoid. Thank you all for participating. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next match.